Hey there, dreamers and doers. It's Rachel, your host and fellow traveler on this journey toward a world of abundance. You can find me on X at rpaul7788, where I'm always sharing ideas, sparking conversations, and cheering you on as we turn bold visions into reality. Last time we explored what abundance really means: freedom from scarcity, a world where everyone thrives, and a future we can shape together. Today, we are taking on a global road trip to see that future in action. Welcome to episode 3, The World Today. In this episode, we're diving into real stories from every corner of the planet. Places where people are already building abundance, sustainability, and community, one brilliant idea at a time. From solar-powered villages in India to floating farms in the Netherlands, we'll see how ordinary people are creating extraordinary change. And I'll show you how you can jump in, because this isn't just a podcast, it's a movement. Let's set the scene. The world today isn't perfect. Climate change is hitting hard. Wildfires, floods, and heat waves are becoming all too common. Poverty still grips over 700 million people, forcing them to survive on less than $2.15 a day. Inequality is growing, and resources often feel stretched thin. It's heavy stuff, and it's tempting to think the problems are too big to fix. But here's the good news. All over the globe, people are proving that's not true. They are not waiting for permission. They are rolling up their sleeves and making abundance happen. Let's meet some of them. We'll start in Dharnai, India, a small village that used to live in the dark. No electricity, no way forward. Then in 2014, Greenpeace and local partners installed a solar microgrid. Overnight, everything changed. Kids could study after sunset, shops stayed open, and families had light for the first time. Today, Dharnai is a model for rural electrification, with similar projects popping up across India and beyond. It's a reminder, small solutions can spark big abundance. Let's jet over to Detroit, USA, where urban farming is turning struggle into strength. After decades of economic decline, vacant lots littered the city until residents fought back with shovels and seeds. The Michigan Urban Farming Initiative has transformed abandoned spaces into thriving gardens, growing fresh food for thousands. It's not just about veggies, it's about jobs, pride, and community. In 2023 alone, they harvested over 50,000 pounds of produce. That's scarcity flipped into plenty. Now head with me to Kenya, where M-Kopa is lighting up rural lives with solar power. Their pay-as-you-go model lets families buy solar kits affordably, think lights, chargers, even radios. Since 2012, they've reached over 3 million homes, creating 13,000 jobs and cutting carbon emissions by millions of tons. Kids study longer, businesses grow, and communities thrive. It's innovation meeting necessity, and it's working. Next stop, Bangladesh, where the Grameen Shakti program is another solar success story. They've installed over 2 million solar home systems since the 1990s, training local women as technicians to keep them running. These women, often from poor rural areas, are now breadwinners and problem solvers, bringing clean energy to millions. It's empowerment and sustainability rolled into one. In South Africa, township of Khayelitsha is tackling water scarcity head-on. The iShack project equips informal settlements with solar panels, clean water systems, and sanitation upgrades. Residents pay a small fee for maintenance, keeping it sustainable. Since starting in 2011, iShack has improved life for thousands, proving that even in tough conditions, abundance can take root. Let's pivot to the Netherlands, where Rotterdam's floating farms are redefining food production. These buoyant platforms grow crops and raise dairy cows right on the water, adapting to rising sea levels. The floating farm, launched in 2019, produces milk and yogurt for the city while cutting transport emissions. It's a taste of how we can feed the future sustainably and locally. Over in Japan, the town of Kamikatsu is chasing a wild dream: zero waste. Since 2003, residents have sorted their trash into 45 categories for recycling or composting. No landfills, no excuses. By 2020, they'd hit an 81% recycling rate, way above the national average. It's a community-wide effort showing that abundance isn't just about having more, it's about wasting less. In Colombia, the city of Medellin has turned urban mobility into a tool for equality. Once plagued by violence, it built cable cars to connect hillside slums to the city center. The metro cable, opened in 2004, cuts commutes from hours to minutes, linking people to jobs and schools. Crimes down, hopes up, and it's a blueprint for inclusive infrastructure worldwide. Let's visit Brazil, where the eco-village of Curare in Bahia is living the sustainable dream using permaculture, solar energy, and collective governance. Residents grow their own food and power their homes. It's part of the eco-village network spanning South America, showing that small, intentional communities can model a Type 1 future. In Australia, the Indigenous-led Fire Sticks Alliance is reviving traditional burning practices to fight wildfires and restore ecosystems. By blending ancient knowledge with modern science, they are protecting land and culture. Since 2010, they've trained hundreds and influenced national policy, proof that abundance includes honoring the past. Back in the USA, the Brooklyn microgrid in New York is rewriting the energy game. Using blockchain, neighbors trade solar power directly. No middleman needed. Launched in 2016, it's a decentralized system that's resilient and fair, hinting at what a global energy grid could become. And in Singapore, vertical farming is soaring. Sky Greens stacks crops in towers, using 95% less water than traditional farms. It's feeding a crowded city with fresh greens, cutting imports, and showing how tech can make urban abundance real. From India to Singapore, these stories scream one thing: the tools for abundance are here and they're working. Solar grids, urban farms, floating dairies, zero waste towns. It's not sci-fi, it's today. These aren't lone wins, they are threads in a global tapestry, weaving a future where everyone has enough. But let's zoom out. Tech's amplifying these efforts. In Mexico, drones are planting 1 billion trees by 2030, reforesting land faster than humans could alone. In Rwanda, zip lines drones deliver blood and medicine to remote clinics, saving lives since 2016. And in Denmark, wind farms now produce over 50% of the nation's power, thanks to community-owned turbines. These leaps aren't just cool, they are lifelines, scaling abundance worldwide. Okay, I hear you. Rachel, this is awesome, but I'm no farmer or engineer. What can I do? Here's the secret. You don't need a cape to be a hero. Abundance starts with you, your choices, your voice, your community. Here are 3 ways to jump in. Number 1, spread the word. Share these stories. Tharnai's lights, Kamikatsu's bins, Medellin's cables on social media with #AbundanceForAll. Inspiration spreads fast, and your post could ignite someone's next big idea. Next, act local. Find or start a project near you: a garden, a solar co op, a cleanup. No options? Host a potluck to brainstorm. Small steps ripple out, just like they did in Detroit or Rotterdam. Finally, spend smart. Back businesses that build abundance: local food, green tech, ethical brands. Your dollar's a vote for the world you want. The world today is messy, sure, but it's also bursting with hope. Every solar panel, every recycled bottle, every shared ride is a brick in the Type 1 civilization we're building. You're not just a listener, you're a co creator. Next up, we'll explore Nikola Tesla's wild dreams of free energy and how they are sparking today. Follow me on X at rpaul7788 and let's keep this going with hashtag abundance for all, because the future, it's ours to make.